Yeah. Okay. So the question here is how can we better help children, our children that just graduated, although they are no they won't be seen as children in quotes per se, but more like the children that are recent graduates that probably we are guardian to, or that they are our children, and we want the best for them. We can't just sit and have the negative mindset and say there's no job out there. The question is, what have we done? What have we tried? How best have we positioned them? Okay. We know at the moment that we know the situation of our the our university curriculum and the industry. You know, there's a huge gap, and that huge gap is called the digital skills gap. Okay, so now I'm not here to tell you oh yeah, come and take a training on cyber security, software development. Those are advanced skills. I'm talking about what are the basic digital skills does a fresh graduate, a recent graduate need or must have in order to be employable. Okay, so if they don't have it, it's a problem already. Okay, you are the job there is limited, and the skills the person have is limiting the person. So we are here to say, let's just break free of that basic digital skills, because advanced skills can be taught by these companies. Okay, that's why you have graduate trainee where they give them 6 months training. They are giving them advanced skills on what is relevant to the company. However, before you get into that graduate trainee, how are you prepared to get into it? That is the question. How are you prepared to get into it? So that is the discussion we'll be having. I'm not here to show you slides or anything, but I'm here to say, okay, these are the basic digital skills. These are the advanced digital skills. Then we have experts in the industry, the human resource experts, to tell you how she has encountered people in employees seeking for job, and how some persons are not able to get in because of telling you what limited them, so I can be able to have an overview what might be limiting your child. Okay, um we have another person in our midst that is an entrepreneur, okay, who have also um have opportunities to be uh, getting people to work with him as his employees, and he must have come across as employee, and he must have come across a whole lot of defaults that will make the person not employable. Okay, so apart from even digital skills, although that this is not what we're not talking about soft skills, but do you know that some soft skills can actually make some persons might have the right digital skills? Do you know that attitude can get someone out of the job? But this is not what we're talking about today. But this is, we can actually just talk around it and see how we can be able to get our children prepared. Once again, this is not a job giving webinar. This is a webinar to get an overview of how better we can help our children. Okay, so I'll be showing you what digital skill basic digital skills are, which you already know, more like highlighting what you already know. So highlighting what you already know as a parent, and telling and giving a clear difference between them. Then by the time you are able to see the basic digital skills and the advanced digital skills, you can be able to say, okay, to an extent, does my child have these skills actually? Okay. Then by the time we know that, then we have our speakers come into the session to discuss. As I said, this is not a session whereby we'll be sharing slides, getting you bored. We'll discuss. You can actually interrupt and ask questions on the go. Okay, you can say, "Excuse me, let me try to understand you." So it's an interactive session. Miriam will be the first speaker. Then we have Karim. But while they are sharing their views and the experience they've got during their years of experience, you can actually raise up your hand and we'll call you and you ask your question. So it's going to be very, very interactive. So we'll do that within an hour. Then we'll now have the parents to be able to share their own experience, ask their own questions. We answer you and we'll now tell you how we believe is the way forward to be able to go about it with the whole discussion. So that is how we'll go on today's session on employable digital skills. So I'll be sharing my slide to be able to show you what are basic digital skills and the advanced digital skills. So I can be able to see the difference within the skills and see where our children fall into. Okay, so I've had my own share of experience where I told some persons that they should submit their CV if they have the skills. I put out a job hire on social media and say, if you have the skills, please submit your CV. And I have my share whereby they sent CV without a heading and without a body. Okay, without a heading, without a body. They just sent me their CV. They just slapped their CV to my face. Okay, so these are one of the things that we see because you wouldn't blame them because they don't know that they're not getting it right. So employable digital skills for recent graduates. Okay, so I've told us how we are going to go about it. Then what are basic digital skills? So we have computer literacy, ability to use the system. Okay, some parents think that if their children are on TikTok or on Instagram consuming all those drama, that they have digital skills. I bet you it's just there. It's just plug and play. Anybody can do that. That's not having digital skills. Being socially available does not mean that you have that digital skills that is required for that the industry require. Okay, internet navigation. If you are given a research work, how do you go about your research? If you want to get some information, how do you go about it? Do you know how to use YouTube? Do you know how to use Google? Email etiquette. I just told you about the email etiquette. People just send CV. They don't even have a heading or body. Then Microsoft Office suites. On LinkedIn, I told a story about how what even made us to even start DesiTech Limited, simply because some persons, simply because a lady did not have, as an administrator, she doesn't have the Microsoft Excel skill, and they wanted to, after 3 years in the company, instead of promoting her, they want to sack her. But I teaching her Microsoft Excel made her retain her job. So that got me thinking. And some other challenges I had during my career development that say, you know what, there are some persons out there, millions of people out there that really need to be saved before they let them go of their job and they'll become jobless. Then basic cybersecurity awareness. Some persons, AI everywhere, they will now go to work and the next thing there's this file, important file in the company. What would I call it? A secured file in the company that is that is a secret file, in the company that only the employees can have access. You will now carry that file and go and put in ChatGPT, for it to give you summary or for it to give you an idea. You're already exposing the file of your company to the world. Some persons don't even know that. They think it's about, I can use ChatGPT. Do you know the ethics? Do you know the ethics of using ChatGPT? Or do you just put anything there and feel that it's only ChatGPT will know? ChatGPT is a machine, and it's a machine that is connected across the world, okay? So that cybersecurity awareness is very important, okay? Social media basics. I'm a recent graduate, I'm looking for a job. I will go, I'll go and open TikTok and Instagram. And I don't know, I'll open LinkedIn in order to be able to be positioned for job. That's where HR will be able to locate me. I don't know that. So social media basis is not really going to post on Snapchat and everything. Is knowing the social media that actually help your career development. Then cloud storage and collaboration tools. Okay. You employ a graduate, a fresh graduate, and ask the person, please help me get, please access this thing through Google Drive, and asking you, which drive? Google Drive, how? I don't understand. Okay. I even got talking, I was just talking to someone that just convocated, and I was like, please, do you know how to use Google Drive? I want to send something. You're like, Google Drive. I know Google Drive. And the person I'm telling you, oh my goodness, the gadget is carrying as in, so it's not about the gadget, whether you are using iPhone or iPhone 20 or anything. If you don't know what you are supposed to know as a person that wants to add value to a company, there's a problem already. There's already a problem, and that's the problem we want to discuss. Then these are the basic digital skills that I'm talking about, okay? That a graduate must have. Then this advanced digital skills is something that on a normal day, probably you just want to stand out, okay? As maybe your child wants to stand out, but on a normal day, companies offer advanced digital skills to their recent graduates, that we call graduate training. But if the parents can be able to afford such skills in order to skyrocket the job search, to be able to get job immediately, fine and good. But what we are really talking about today is not these ones that can take like 6 months, 1 year to acquire. I'm talking about this one that can actually take like a month to acquire, and immediately you're able to get started. Okay. So with this, our first speaker, Miriam Yusuf, will be coming on board. So let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing so that she can share. And please, lest I forget, I remain Chinelo Okafor, Engineer Chinelo Okafor, the founder of Daisy Tech Limited. And what we do in Daisy Tech Limited is digital transformation. Digital transformation for businesses and career development. And today, what we are offering is digital transformation for career development. So, Miriam, you are highly welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It's amazing to be here, and thank you, Engineer Chinelo. Super happy. I think that you hit the nail on the head in terms of most of this basic technical skill sets that a lot of fresh graduates are found wanting. They do not have those skill sets, and I'm not sure who to blame, and I think I'll put it out in the comments. So who do you think we should blame for, recent graduates not knowing how to use Google Workspace, Google Drive, Microsoft Word, Excel. Who should we blame? Should we blame the schools, or should we blame the parents, or should we blame the students themselves? Let me know. If you could put it in the comments who you think should hold the bulk of the blame for, fresh graduate not having good basic technical skill set. I would love to see your thoughts on that. Anyways, hi, my name is Miriam Yusuf. I am the lead HR consultant for Marvel Advisory Consulting Limited. We are a human resource consulting brand, and I can tell you for free, over the past few years that I've been working, I must have interviewed over 2,000 people for different roles. And the truth is that the workforce is constantly evolving, right? And with such changes in the workforce, employers are requiring that, fresh graduates, candidates in the workforce have more than just their certificates of education. We're now requiring candidates who have certain skill sets that makes them adaptable to today's workforce. Now, I know that there's a saying, we're currently in a workspace, in a workforce era where there are a lot of Gen Zs, there are a lot of Gen Alphas, the social media era. All of these things are changing the way employers and even, earning money is as of today. What is important is that as parents, we constantly think about how can we make sure that our kids stand out in the workforce, our kids stand out in the job market. After we spend so much money, so for example, if you're taking your child to a private university, I can imagine how much you spend year in, year out to ensure that child has the right education. But guess what? It's very important that you're also focusing on the skill sets that will make them stand out. So their educational certificate is great, but it's not enough anymore. We're constantly looking for people who can challenge the status quo. We're constantly looking for people who are adaptable. We're constantly looking for people who are articulate and can communicate very well. We're looking for people who can adapt to this digital age, who can use AI to their benefit, who can use Google Workspace, who can learn new tools and technology. We're looking for people who can solve problems, who can think critically, right? Questions in interviews have gone past, oh, can you do this? To how would you solve this problem if you were in this situation? Now, we're not even forgiving that, oh, this person is a fresh graduate, okay, stay in one side. No, the expectations are high. Why? Because we're in an age where you can literally learn how to be an AI prompter. You can learn, cybersecurity online. You can learn UI UX design online. So the expectations is a lot more. Now, my major concern is that there are certain soft skills that are very important for today's fresh graduates to have, for them to thrive in the workforce. And I'm going to list out some of these soft skills because they're very important. The first thing is confidence and communication. And I put the two together because you can communicate, you can have, I've experienced people who can communicate, but they are not confident. And the truth is that confidence does something with your communication. When you're confident and can communicate, you also most likely be able to influence. And influencing is an amazing skill set that the new generation must have, especially because we're now in a workforce where there's a lot of open door policies, open communication in the workplace. There's no the hierarchical structure that we were used to when we were working, where you had like bosses and you had to, everything was uptight and bureaucratic, is beginning to dissolve. What does that mean? It means that it's giving the younger generation an opportunity to thrive. And so they need to be confident and be able to communicate so that they can influence for certain wins, certain ideas within the organization. So your child must be able to communicate very well articulately and also be able to write well. See, I'm a sucker for good writing, right? And I think that even from the CVs that they write to the emails that they write, you find that quite a lot of people do not know how to write intentionally. Now, I am not talking about writing with short forms in the way where they will spell before with a B and for. That thing icks me every time. But I'm actually talking about actually constructing words and sentences in a way where you're passing your message, but your writing is so good that people will know that at least they will give a sense of you know what you're doing. So it's very important that as a parent, you are guiding um, your fresh graduate or your words to learn how to communicate effectively. Now, the second thing is critical thinking and problem solving. In my introduction, I mentioned this. Gone are the days where we're just asking questions. Okay, do you know how to do it? No, those are not the type of questions we're asking in interviews anymore. We're asking questions that test their thinking. We're asking questions that share in how do they solve. Those are the types of questions that we are asking, right? Because it's very important that we are hiring people who can think on their feet, who will be assets and be valuable to the organization. So whenever they are thrown into challenges, when there's a roadblock with their role or with a task that they've been given, we want to be sure that they can think critically about it, have possible solutions before they come back to their bosses. Not that every 5 minutes there's a roadblock, you're frustrated, you've gone to your boss, oh, what can I do? You have to prefer possible solutions for you to get into the door, right? So critical thinking and problem solving, it's an important skill set that a fresh graduate must have. And then we now talk about teamwork and collaboration. Now, it's actually becoming very important for us to guide our fresh graduates, our young workforce, right? In how to work in a team and actually how to collaborate. And I think it's beautiful because um, when we were younger, we had the opportunity to play outside, play with sand with our friends. You know, we grew up in some sort of community where in a neighborhood, I knew all the kids in that neighborhood, right? I played with them. I probably went to their house, you know. There was that neighborhood community sort of bond. But most recently, kids are being placed in their houses with technology by themselves. And what I mean by this is you have kids who are, they're on their phones, they will be in their rooms on their phones. They are not able to hold conversations with people. They're not able to collaborate effectively with people because obviously when they were growing up, they probably were in their house by themselves. They didn't interact with too many people. So it's very important for us that we are conscious of the fact that teamwork and collaboration is actually the way to go. And it's beautiful because even when you look at big brands, right, and the rise of social media and influencers, collaboration is important. So, why is this also important in the workforce? Because whatever projects that you've been assigned, you need to be able to collaborate with the right members of team to deliver that project effectively. You can't do it alone. Even if you're a star employer, if you're not working great in a team, it is a problem, right? So it's very important that we're driving and we're having conversations around how they can actually, better be collaborators and team players within the organization. Now, something that is also important is they need to have emotional intelligence. This is a skill that a lot of young people need to have, especially because we're in the era where, a lot of the people in the workforce, especially the youngs, are the Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. There's something that I've started seeing in the way they work, in the way they interact with people, and it just lacks that maturity that is needed. While I know that most of these things, you get it by age, by experience, by literally growing up and going through life, it's also important that emotional intelligence is a key skill that parents are beginning to try to teach. Now, Engineer Chinelo has mentioned a lot of the digital skill sets that are important, from productivity to calendar apps to Canva. All of these tools are so important that they need to that that they need to use and need to understand, because it definitely helps that if they have those skill sets, when they get a job, they're a lot more productive, right? Now, one thing that we've started to do as recruiters is we've started to crawl new hires' social media pages. And I'll explain. Part of the background checks that we've started to incorporate in recruiting or hiring new people is that we actually go through their social media pages. We try to get to know a bit about them, find out who they are, what they're like, social media crawling, and generally just check to see who they are. And this is a very important thing, because people have missed jobs because they dropped or they had tweets that were maybe racist, or tweets that just did not align with the organization, right? And so it's very important that we're telling the young people that however they're portraying themselves online is so important. And this is not even just about getting a job. You don't want a situation where you're about to be the governor of Lagos State, for example, and people can track you and say there's a tweet you made in 1995 where you said all Yoruba men should be killed or all Igbo women should be killed. Do you know what I mean? So very important that as parents, we're also thinking through and guiding our teens, our fresh graduates, about the importance of showing up correct online. Especially with the age that we're in, where everybody is creating content, everybody is telling stories. It's just very important that you tell clean stories. You wait off what's the word that I'm looking for? It just escaped my mind, but you are on your social media is pretty clean. You can have fun, you can tell good stories, you can be a creative. That's great, but make sure it is clean from racist comments, clean from attacks or things that just show off in a way where people will not appreciate, right? So it's so important that these are the things that we're thinking about as parents, and especially as parents who want to have words that would thrive in the workplace, right? Now, there's also something that is very important, which is that with the younger generation, I remember that I got my first job and I was earning what, maybe 5,000 naira. To say that now sounds very funny. My first job was 5,000 naira, and then I moved on to 40,000 naira. Then I got the NYSC 30 something thousand plus 40K, literally moved up. Now, one thing I want to share is that it's also important that, especially when there are specialized skill sets involved or specialized trainings involved, be supportive to your kids, to your new fresh graduates, so that they can take on jobs that are not necessarily paying well, but will give them that skill set that they need, so that in the future they would earn so much more. And I'm saying this because a lot of times we're interviewing people and we have a good budget, maybe 150K, 100,000 for a fresh graduate who hasn't gotten any experience. And you find that they decline roles like that, and you're wondering, but you don't even know anything. Like, this is a good opportunity. You stay close to the place, it's a good opportunity. What is the challenge? And you realize that they have some sort of inflated ego and inflated value that they've placed on themselves, which is good. You obviously need to know your worth. You need to be able to ask for your worth. But at a certain level in your life, you also need to grow in that career. You need to build up that career, especially when you're not, applying to SEPLAT and you're in that league and all of that. But a lot of the times, most of the jobs available to fresh graduates, It's usually between that 100, 150K for the general, for the most part, right? So it's important that, as parents, we actually tell them the stories of how we started, letting them know that, our first jobs probably didn't even pay us anything. But it is that process that has gotten us to where we are, where we're able to pay their school fees, they're able to have a good life, all of that stuff. So it's important that that is also shared with them. They need to understand that there's a process to life, right? And you find it that, where you find young people who have inflated expectations and you're wondering, I recently interviewed with somebody, okay, and we put them to productivity tests. They couldn't use a couple of tools, right? You're literally very fresh. So there was a question around why they declined an offer that was going to pay them 150K, where we would have had to teach them a lot of things, right? So it's also important that we have those conversations with them. And I think that with that, I just want to say one thing that is key, right? Is that now in the workforce now, the degrees are very important. But what is most important are the extra skill sets that you have, both soft and technical skills, and the right attitude. Those are the things that would help anybody, any fresh graduate, get the jobs that they need to at least start their process, right? Because it's more is moving away from just having a BSc in this, having an HND in this, to saying, okay, you have a BSc, that's great. What other skill sets do you have? What's your attitude like? Who are you? What are the values that you live by, right? And you know, what are the skill sets that you have? What are the soft skills that you have? Those are the things that we're beginning to look out for when we're trying to hire, right? So, and I think that it's important for us as parents to, as much as possible, guide our words, share with them the experiences that we had when we were starting and get them to really understand the importance of doing the work, growing, getting these skill sets from communication to emotional intelligence to using the right productivity tools or basic tech tools like Engineer Chinelo has mentioned, to organizational skills, to being adaptable, to knowing how to think and solve problems, right? Um, and I think that with that, we'll definitely have better quality people in the workforce. So thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'm open to taking questions.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you so much. So we can all see that it's not just about digital skills after all. Soft skills are also important. As Miriam have already said, just a summary of what she said: confidence and communication, critical thinking, collaboration and teamwork, emotional intelligence, and also ability to make sure that your child has a social media page that says what he or she truly is, speaks the positive way of a positive summary of who your child is and not the other way around. That can really help. Thank you, Miriam, for that. And so if you have a question, so before we go to the question session, so want to call on Abdul Karim. Abdul Karim is a creative expert. Okay, if Abdul Karim handles wood for you here, you will think that he's handling what they call it. He's handling mud. You don't know that it's wood. The way he craft furnitures are awesome. His furniture, when you see them, you'll be asking, did they import it? They didn't import it, so it's Abdul Karim is the architect. Okay, the architect in himself did it from ground zero to finishing. Okay, so he will be talking to us about the experience he has had um, in having employees that are not digitally employable. So you have the space. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Can can you
Good
hear
evening.
me, huh?
Good evening.
Good
We can
evening,
hear you.
everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to you, Engineer Chidelu of Daisy Tech, for putting this event together, and to everyone who is present here. Thank you very much. This is something we need to do from time to time, as we need to improve the workforce. There's something I learned along the line while speaking to one of my mentors. This is internationally, what is approved internationally is the industrialists. They speak to the educationists. They tell them the kind of graduates they want the educationists to churn out. So when the industrialists come to employ the graduates, they are tailored to exactly what they want. So even every skill they need, like at least on a basic level, they have it one way or the other. So I'll start by saying my name. My name is Abdul Karim Olatunji. I'm an architect, and today I'll be speaking on something very critical that affects every young graduate. Majorly, I would put the topic as, a degree is not enough anymore. And why? Why is this? Because we're in the world of the digital era, we're in the digital age, everything is digital. We can't overemphasize about soft skills. I could branch a bit and talk about soft skills. Sorry, can I be heard? Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so let me talk a bit about soft skill. I remember in 2016 when I was going to make the switch from being a junior architect to a more advanced role as an architect. I took up a job somewhere in Lekki. It was owned by a white architect, a woman. So I was going to be interviewed by the HR. From the basic soft skills I had from that interview, subsequently when they were going to end up employing anybody, as at that time, I didn't even have a master's yet. I was just with my basic BSc. I was just a graduate architect, but yeah, I had a bit of experience. But because of soft skills that I had, and then the digital skills I had worked on, I had put a lot of effort on that. I could do practically everything anybody in the master's class could do. That's another very important part. I think we just tend to educate a lot of people who don't have basic skills, and then you see them, they have a master's degree, and then they come out and they are not useful to the industrialists, to the workforce. They now have to retrain them. Of course, you have to retrain to fit your organization. That is important, but you need people who have basic knowledge. And I'm sure if we begin to ask our HR expert here, if she begins to tell us those stories, that's why you see her emphasizing on soft skills more, because people come into the room with all sorts of weird attitudes. So back to my story. I ended up being mm, taking, apart from my design job, I ended up being a partner to the HR of the firm, that we were always interviewing people together. Why? Because she saw I had the soft skills. She told me point blank that every other person she had interviewed, nobody was as concise and as confident and as straightforward as I was. So henceforth, she just told me what she needed, and we would go into the meeting room together, and we were interviewing people with 10 years experience. And at that time, I was just with like 3, 4 years experience. We were interviewing people with 12 years experience, and I was just blending in. Because I had the skills and I had taken those things serious. And yes, who made it possible for me? Just my parents. So I believe here we are speaking to the parents, not necessarily the graduates who need the skills right now, but we're speaking to the parents. But if you take it serious with your words and your children, I believe in a couple of years, in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks, you would begin to see changes. I'll be honest with you, there are jobs everywhere. But the problem is, who are the people who are going to get the jobs done? Is it the people who have not been educated to the level that the industrialists want? We just pass through school, and then we don't let the school pass through us, and we don't plan for the future. It's all about just doing assignments. Yes, they say hard work gets you there, but discipline keeps you going. Talent gets you there, but discipline keeps you going. So digital skills, so education and certification, they open the door. But you see what keeps the door open? Your soft skills, your digital skills will keep the door open and keep opening other doors that the education and certification has opened already. Universities, and the truth is, universities are not enough. They are not keeping up and keeping up enough to give the digital. In short, they are not even doing that at all. You speak to children in classes like computer science, computer engineering. They don't know how to run Microsoft Suite or Microsoft Teams. They can't do anything on Google Suite or Google Workplaces. They can't even operate Zoom. All they can do is Instagram. What? In short, they can't even put a proper story of their day on LinkedIn. They can't even concisely do a research and post it. And then now we're in the era of AI. People just type from. You see people copying and pasting results from the AI generator, and they can't even edit anything there. It is so painful. So let's just go straight to basic things I believe employers are looking for. So typically for me, I would be looking about. I will be looking for things like digital skills, such as digital marketing is almost like everything any organization needs now, because marketing is king. So I believe every graduate should have at least a small amount or a small quantity of digital marketing skills, no matter how basic as it is. And then basic social media skills also. Precisely LinkedIn. Precisely LinkedIn, how to tell a story. There's so many courses online on how to tell a story. A lot. Some of it are just about maybe 30 minutes. You see, we have graduates who spend hours on the internet just following people, watching people's lives. If you spend 30 minutes of their day learning how to tell stories better, this works for digital marketing. This works for social media marketing. Those little skills, those little skills come in handy. We also have data analysis. Data analysis is king currently, and we're not saying they should become data engineers and become just basic skills of data analysis. Data analysis could be as simple as using Microsoft Word, using Microsoft Excel to create data and to tabulate data. Just analyze it as simple as it is. Oh, we had 25 orders. 25 of those orders were 6 by 6 beds. Out of the others, we had another 5 that were so. You get, some were requests, some were just to order things. Those skills are things that get you employed. Like, you stand out when you submit your CVs. I'm sure HR people have like 1,000 CVs to look at. But what makes your CV stand out? When they print it, they don't have the time to go through everything. But you get looking at it, your CV should stand out. I should be able to just look at a pile of CVs and be like, oh, I'm going to pick this aside. Let me look through all I have here, then I'll come back to look at this. Yeah, it's like sieving. When you sieve, people scan through, and people don't spend more than 3-5 minutes on CVs. We see it now. We are entrepreneurs. We do pitch decks. The average investor will not spend more than 2-3 minutes on your pitch deck that you spend like 80 hours compiling. They spend maximum of 5 minutes on it. So if you don't stand out, if you don't have the digital skills and the soft skills to package it properly, trust me, it is a no. You could be so good at the job, but digitally you are not concise. Soft skill wise, you have not presented anything to show on that paper that makes them feel, let's give this guy a chance or he stands out. Trust me, it is a zero. So we need to push our children to be able to do that at our awards. So we have graphics design, UI UX design. I'm not saying um they need to get a degree in this field, go to take a 4 year course. No, that would be a total waste of time. We're saying just basic skills. Know how to operate Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, know how to operate Canva, just a bit of digital things that you can just do. So the company needs to do something. Maybe they need to design a flyer to post out. You should be able to say, oh, I could quickly do this, or just show in your portfolio that you once did this, you did those things are just added advantage. It may never come to use, but then when push comes to shove, you never can tell. It could be of use. So basic graphic and UI UX design skills, basic coding and basic software use. This cannot be overemphasized. Every company uses software. I earlier mentioned softwares like Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is like a basic tool for any company, because you need to keep data. You need to write names, CRMs. You need Microsoft Excel for everything. basic coding tools. Even in majority of the softwares we have nowadays, there are all sorts of coding, um, coding. How do I put it? But you, for lack of a better word, coding prompts that you can input in all if majorly all the software we use nowadays. There's so many coding prompts we can use. So we need to get our wards to learn how to do that. It is very, very important that we get people out of the school that industrialists would be able to use. So parents, it is important that your children have basic skills in coding and software use. How can you be applying for a design firm, or let's say you are applying in a company as an accountant and you can't use Microsoft Excel? That is as basic as it comes. That's like telling me you're applying as an artist and you can't draw digitally. So they probably won't employ you. Then this also cannot be overemphasized, because project management and collaboration tools. We have Trello, we have Slack, we have Notion, Google Suites, Google Workplaces, Microsoft Teams. A lot of those softwares are needed, and a lot of project management tools come skills rather digital skills come with those softwares. You need to be able to work with teams, because you can't work alone. The soft skills are as important as the digital skills are important. If you do not have the skills to carry you to work in a team, you would fail. Then you don't have the skills digitally also. You can't get the job done. You can't share the work. You have people who like to work in silos, in isolation. You need to learn to teach our words to work in teams, in groups. You need to be able to tell your children. So the eldest one should be able to lead the young ones, tell them to write you a report of their day. You get simple things like that. They should be able to share it with you while you're at work. Some of these things are basic. It could be written. It could be written like handwritten, as the basic as it needs to be, because you parents also need to know how to use these softwares. And if you do not know how to use it, but if they can write it with pen and paper, trust me, then they can put it in this software, because this software, apart from getting used to the interface, it is all about typing. Everything involves typing. We don't need to be a tech wizard, but having practical working knowledge in just one or two of these softwares are enough to make a graduate 10 times, 100 times more employable. Because the HRs look at these things, and then when you come into the room for the meeting, these are what they see on your CV is what they will interview you with. So we need our awards to focus on these things. In fact, many employers today prefer a candidate who knows how to use digital tools over some with just good grades. Because good grades are good, but good grades don't get the job done. I'll just leave that like that. So I will ask a basic question: how can your child quickly acquire these skills? And I will answer that there are a lot of good ways to do this. Your children don't need to spend 4 years in school to gain digital skills. No, that would be waste. In a couple of months, I know David Tech does a lot of coding classes. Yet there are so many other coding classes that you can do free online. And Daisy Tech courses are cheap. They are cheap courses. There's so many things you can do online digitally. Yes, online it becomes expensive, because we are not talking of paying in dollars or a lot of naira. But Daisy Tech has very, very cheap courses that you can attend as parents, so you can monitor your child's progress, or you can now see it from a different angle and give your children or your wards tasks to attend to. As simple as that. We're talking of courses that will take you 4 weeks, 3 weeks, pick whatever you like. And then there are all sorts of soft skills on YouTube that people could watch, but no, majority of us spend our time watching and digesting and scrolling endlessly and mindlessly over the web, over things that are not going to be helpful. And then we also cry about jobs, this, that. I can tell you for one, I am not in Lagos currently. I'm on a job. I'm on a site in Abeokuta. I'm delivering a job currently in Abeokuta, but I am here punching my phone to slide into the meeting, attend to what everybody needs, say what I believe I can say to help people, to ginger them to attain a form of self-confidence, and then get digital skills done. We could give excuses, but We are not doing that. I'm digressing a bit. Why? Because learning all these skills doesn't necessarily guarantee you success. But what guarantees success, apart from having the talent and the skill, is discipline. You need discipline. Discipline keeps you at a pulse rate that is just enough to keep you going. That's what discipline does. Discipline does. Discipline does that. So, as a parent and mentors, you can support your children by encouraging them beyond school, teach them what to do, give them support financially or emotionally to enroll in programs, buy them materials, give them tasks to feel like I mentioned earlier. Tell your children to write you reports about your day. Let your children or your wards collaborate over issues. Like typical example, you are having a Christmas party for those that are Muslims, Eid parties, or you're having celebrations. Give them tasks to do. Let them collaborate on it. As simple as you can keep them on task as simple as monitoring your electricity bill, the prepaid meter. You make them monitor it. Let them tell you what your usage is per day, what your usage is per hour, and let them monitor. Very, very simple tasks. You can make them collaborate on simple things. Those are basic digital skills, and then it also leads to basic soft skills. A very important soft skill that people overlook a lot is negotiation. Negotiation is a major, basic, very, very basic, and very, very major soft skill. It is also a form of digital skill. Negotiation is key. I'm not a negotiations expert. I won't digress so much into it. But all I can tell you is that negotiation does not necessarily mean money. Negotiation is just transaction. Transaction could be anything for anything, not necessarily money. Transactions just mean exchange. I exchange a service, you exchange it for money, or I exchange a service, we exchange it for other commodities, not necessarily money. Let's put that at the back of our mind. Negotiation is a very important digital and also soft skill. I have seen people being kicked out of um, HR meetings, out of recruitment meetings because they could not negotiate. They could not negotiate properly. We have seen people settle for less because they could not negotiate properly. So parents, teach your children digital and soft skills, basic digital skills, very important to make them stand out 10 times more. So I would close with this. Degrees open doors. Skills keep those doors open. Both digital and soft skills, they keep those doors open and they open new ones. I would leave you with that again. Degrees and certificates open doors. Soft skills and digital skills leave those doors open and create new doors. Please let us hold that dearly. Thank you very much. I'm Abdul Karim Olatunji once again.
Thank you very much. The architect. Yeah. In short, I told you that, see, I didn't save your name. I didn't save Abukari. I just saved the architect. Yeah. So, thank you so much. You have just nailed, in short, the summary, you've just summarized what you say. So, probably try to summarize again is more like repeating because you've already given the caption. Okay. Um, Thank you so much for having a well-rounded, just as Marian has done a very good job in all in this aspect. Okay, you can hear experience. So we have our two speakers talking with experience, sharing their experience, not what they researched or what the facts. No, all is about experience in their profession. Okay. So we've all heard from them and they have told us in black and white. There's nothing that was packaged. Everything is just said that the way it is. So we have because I'm so good with time management. We say 6 o'clock, so we're going to beat it at 6 o'clock. So we have barely 18 minutes to go for us to call this section a close. So before we call this session a close, we will have to now have discussion, interaction with the parents that we have here. Okay. Some of our parents are not able to be here because we're not able to probably navigate through the link or something like that. Okay, so we are going to have the discussion session whereby you ask questions to the speaker. However, before you do that, if you're a parent here and you have your children that's just recently graduated and you want them to go through our basic digital skills package, please please let us know. I'll send you our email and phone number. Please contact us. However, this time is for us to be able to discuss, ask questions, and get our answers from our speakers. Then within the 17 minutes. Okay. So, however, we have let me open up this. Okay, let me open up this. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we have this interesting package for fresh graduates. Very interesting. I call it interesting because Karim was talking about digital marketing. Yes. I wish Marian was there. She's part of the story. How a guy studied education and wanted to be HR. To cut a long story short, he went through Daisy Tech Limited. We taught him digital marketing, and today he's working in an HR company. Everything happened within the space of 4 months. Okay. So I wish Marian I think network she would have probably, yeah, because the guy interned in her company. Okay, so these are the packages. So we'll have a digital skills gap assessment for your child. Then we will now fill the gap. We're not just telling them, well, come and learn this, and we'll know where they have the gap. We'll help them fill the gap with 1 month's training on the basic digital skills. Less than 1 month, but within that 1 month, we are getting them well-rounded with projects, building portfolio for themselves, helping them, guiding them towards creating LinkedIn or revamping their LinkedIn profile, helping them with CV review with our HR professional, and guiding them towards 30 days LinkedIn content. 30 days, okay? They'll be intentional, okay? And they will have a community of these graduates sending them opportunities where we see one. With all these intentional efforts, there should be a digital transformation in your child. Okay, yes, we are looking forward to a job, but within your child, there will be a digital transformation by the time he's able to go through these packages within 1 month. Okay, so I'll be sending you the email address and phone number. If you're interested, please reach out to us. So now is the Q&A. So please ask your pending question now, so that we have like barely 10 minutes to call it a day. Okay, so let's ask our question from our speaker. Question time. So let me stop sharing. So do we have question? Caroline, Temitope, Philemon, do we have question for our speakers before we call it a day? We have barely 14 minutes to go. Any question?
Okay, let me just react to what they said today.
Okay.
Okay, I think so far so good. When I saw the link, I was like, the topic was actually fascinating. So I was like, if it's coming from you, I know, I would definitely embrace it. But it's actually been a worthwhile, breathtaking from our first speaker, that Madam Miriam Yusuf, and then our second speaker as well. I am a parent as well, so it's trying to put them on course because actually being intentional with my kids. So many programs I've actually enrolled them for because I've noticed that there's a huge gap between labor market. So if someone actually going to eat it on time, one has to be very intentional about that. So a very big thank you to Daisy Tech, courtesy of engineer Chinelo, for putting this together. Yes, so we still keep spreading the good news for everyone to get to know. Thank you so much. And more grace to your elbow. By God's grace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Dr.
My
Dr. Temitope. Yeah, please go ahead, Philemon. Yeah.
okay. So from my own side, building confidence in our children and boldness to speak and giving them the analytical reasoning on how to manage or how to solve problems. Just as been mentioned, locking our children in the house or in the room, playing with their tablets, WhatsApp, and phones is not enough. Is that this Gen Z situation is creating a lot of problem and breaking relationship. However, we can, for any of the religion, we should ensure that our children participates in the children activity in all the religions that we belong to, in any religion we belong to, because by that they'll be able to relate with one another at that level, and the whoever that is leading those children must have one way or the other challenge them with one problem or the other to resolve, either in group or individual. And I discovered that some of them are introverts while some are extroverts. So by the time they mix up with their colleagues in the whichever region, organization, or group, then that trait will be identified, and whoever that is leading will be able to say, okay, you are good at this. Some children actually may want to be an artist, a drama artist from beginning, but unfortunately, he is a shy type. So if he or she is not having opportunity to participate and get used to the crowd from 2 people, 3 people within the group, I don't think that vision or that dream will come alive. So just as the architect has said, some children, right, from the beginning, they have flair for drawing. So if the parents are not good at drawing, the parents should be able to find a way of encouraging those children to go to drawing. I mean, where they are drawing something. Some are good at singing or playing instruments. So those are the things that we can encourage as children, of which I would say most of we the parents, especially the high class people, they always love their children at home and then only come to, call the, what do you call it, lesson teacher to come and teach them at home instead of allowing them to trek that distance to go and meet other people. So all those things add to problem that we are having here. That's why many of these children, as they are growing, some of them turn to become bully. Some of them start taking drugs because they are not used to, proper environment and environment where they can talk and open up. They can only talk to their mother or to their father. Even some will not even, as time goes on, they won't have time to talk to their parents. They only talk within the group of people. So I still want to say with this platform that we created, it's going to be an eye-opener for as many parents who always lock their children. It's only when they are going to ShopRite, going to this, they carry them out. Let them go out. Just about 2 days ago, I was telling one of my son, uh, he, he, he was given some money for transport. So I negotiated with 2 people of bike for 300 naira each. But the bike man stopped at a junction and said, this is where your 300 naira stop. So he now begged that the rider should please take him further to the front of the house. And when he got to the house, to the front of the house, the Okada rider is now asking her, you have to pay extra 100 naira. He said, but he already told you. So, the argument continued, and I start calling his mother that you should come and help him to pay the 100 naira balance. In fact, I told him that simple, know how to resolve your problem by yourself. So, and at the end, I didn't tell him to beg, neither to pay the money, but I don't know, I decided not to ask him anything, how he solved the problem. My thing is that just come in home, full stop. So it may be harsh at times, but it's what I personally experienced when I was growing up. And I found out that locking our children in the house, in our compound, playing with one another, playing with ball and other, family is not enough, but rather to go out, mix up with people, learn, then when they come home, we correct them rather than say, okay, don't go out, don't mix with them. They are poor people, they are rich people. Then if tomorrow comes, they want to become our president, they won't know how to do it. They will only be thinking of their own family again, just as you say. So those are the things I can add to it. But it's a good eye-opening. And I pray all things will work well with us, and we will not regret training these children in the way of the Lord at the end, that they will not depart to become the children of evil in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Philemon. Thank you. That was an awesome one, relating it to, I've also, in short, I've learned now. I've learned so much, and I'm learning so much from Mr. Philemon on how one needs to, whether any religion leadership participates. Yeah, a lady has told me that, and I think this is the second time. I think is the Lord talking to me. It's very important. Get our children out there to work. And I tell you, Mr. Philemon, a man told his story how he was looking for a job over years after graduating. He did not get, and he finally went to church to volunteer. I know volunteers, some church doesn't pay. So he was just to go out from the house. He told us the story how he started volunteering in the church. From there, he became who he is. Today, this man is known. In short, he's working with Google, he's working with Microsoft. That's how big he is. From the church, he didn't get it. It was from the church that someone had picked him the way he works hard and made him to be able to be where he is now. So, as you said, as in, even when our children get the skills, they should also go to church and volunteer. Not just church. We have companies that are calling for volunteers. We tell them to be able to volunteer, do internship, and the rest of them. Thank you very much for that. So we have Caroline. Caroline, do you have anything to say? We just have 5 minutes left before we call it a day. It's been awesome learning from one another. It's been awesome learning, and hopefully this series will continue, whereby we are able to relate with parents and keep on talking about, because the shocking thing is that we have a statistics by World Economic Forum that was researched by International Finance Corporation, IFC, on the gap of digital skills in Africa. In Africa, we have 230 million gap of basic digital skills. They didn't say gap of advanced digital skills like software development and the rest of them. No, basic digital skills, 230 million gap will happen by 2030 if we don't do anything about it. They've already projected. And only in Nigeria alone, we will be having 57 million digital skills gap by same 2030. Okay, so what are we doing about it? So Daisy Tech Limited, I believe that it's a calling upon me, Chinelo Okafor, to be able to say, you know what, let me add my own quota and keep on training these children, keep on having career mentorship with these children. I've had people that have passed through Daisy Tech Limited. Today, they've finished their masters in data science. We introduced it to them. Today, they have already been promoted in their job. Today, they have a better learning path from secondary school. They don't know what to study. But by the time they learn data entry, data science, they're like, oh, so there's something like robotics engineering. So there's something like mechatronics. So there's something. So it's not, they're not just wired only on being a lawyer, being an engineer, being a doctor. They now know that there are other things. Even being an accountant is even phasing out. They now see business analysis. Okay, so it's a whole lot because they don't know, and we are here to be able to keep them informed. So we hope to close this 58 million digital skills gap. We have our we have the governor, we have the federal government doing things about giving free courses, free advanced courses, okay? But do you know the challenge here? The challenge here is that if we'll be having 58 million digital skills gap by 2030, that means, how about people? We go to LinkedIn, we see opportunities. We go to our WhatsApp level. So how about those children that does not even have internet access? And we have 70% of these children that is in rural area does not have this. So how will they see opportunities that are being posted on LinkedIn? Do they even know what it's called LinkedIn? Do they even know what is called Instagram, or even maybe they might know Facebook, but Facebook does not even use, you must not have a smartphone to use Facebook. So this is very, very important that we are able to reach as many people as possible. And we're happy we're having this discussion today. So before we call it a day, we don't know whether, Caroline, do you have anything to say? Maybe you'll be the one to wrap up for us. Caroline, do you have anything to say? Okay, since she's not unmuting. So at this juncture, I want to thank every one of us that have made it to this call. I thank you for coming on board. I thank you, Mr. Abdul Karim. I thank you, everyone, Temitope, for being able to put your inputs. Mr. Philemon, thank you so much. And to this, I say, let's enjoy our weekend. And I hope to see us in other sessions. Yeah, thank you and have a nice weekend. Yeah, bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.